Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you to our Kerio Connect 9.1 What's New overview webinar. My name is Carsten Maas. I'm Technical Marketing Engineer at Kerio Technologies. With me today is again our Vice President of Products, Heather Poney. She will be the host and the presenter for today's webinar, and I think we have some really exciting and awesome new features in our 9.1 release. So Heather, I would like to hand it over to you, and guys, have fun.
Thanks, Carsten. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing what we've got with our brand new Kerio Connect 9.1 release with you today. We released it just last week, so still hot off the press, although hopefully some of you have already tried it, and I hope you're finding that you like the new features. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for being part of our Kerio community. Just looking through the participant list here, I see a few names that I recognize, so welcome back. I also see a few new names as well, so welcome if you haven't joined us before. And I will start by giving an overview of Kerio Connect before going into the details of what's new. So as we go through, if you have any questions, please do write them in the Q&A, and Carsten will be standing by and will answer as many of the questions as he can while we go through it. So here's roughly what we're going to cover today. I'm going to start off with an overview of Kerio Connect. So remind those who've been with us before about what Kerio Connect can do, and go over a high-level overview for those of you who are new to Kerio and new partners with us. Over the first half of this year, we did more than just build Kerio Connect 9.1. We also had a couple of minor releases, and I'd like to make sure that we cover what we built in those two releases as well. So we'll probably start off with that. After that, I'll go through a summary of all the new features in Kerio Connect 9.1, and then from there, I'll highlight some of those so that we can take a more in-depth look at it. And then from there, we'll go through a summary and wrap up. So I have about 21 slides, something like that, including the two we've already done, and I expect this to take about 20 minutes. So we'll start off with an overview. So Kerio Connect is our enterprise class messaging system. It's a product that's been around with Kerio for about 13 to 14 years. It's a full email server that fits perfectly for any small to medium sized business. Now with Kerio Connect, end users can use Kerio's web-based email client, the Kerio Connect Client. This is a full-featured web-based email client that makes it very easy for users to manage their email, their calendars, their contacts and tasks from anywhere that they have a browser. Customers can alternatively use other email clients on their desktop or use a mobile application to access email and calendars. Kerio Connect will work with clients such as Apple Mail or Microsoft Outlook, and there's an easy setup tool that can set up everything that's needed for either Apple Mail or Outlook. But in the Kerio Connect 9.1 release, you'll see that we have, in a technology preview mode, we have a new version of Kerio Connect that runs as a Mac desktop application for everybody to try. And a sneak peek, although I believe we are recording this, is that we will be releasing that Mac desktop client along with a Windows version not too far in the distant future. So Kerio Connect is mobile friendly. When moving around with a mobile device, Kerio Connect can keep you up to date with messages, notifications, contacts, and meetings on your mobile device, and it's easy to deploy. So it's BYOD ready, bring your own device. Whether customers choose to use iOS or Android-based smartphones, Kerio Connect can ensure that they know meeting schedules, they see messages as they come in, and it will keep contact information all up to date. It's very simple. It's simple in a few different ways. It's simple to purchase. It's simple to sell. There's not very much there in the way of licensing. So you can pick the basic option of Kerio Connect. and then you can add antivirus. There's also an option to add mobile synchronization with Exchange ActiveSync, and there's also an anti-spam option as well. And there's really not much else to choose from. It's really that simple to decide what you need as you make a purchase for it. It's simple also in that it's very easy to install. You can get Kerio Connect mail server installed and be sending email in less than an hour the first time you ever did it, and then it will be quicker as you get experience and do it again and be even less than that hour. It's got a very nice administrative user interface that makes setup very intuitive, very easy, and very quick. And it has flexible deployment options, so our partners can sign up their customers for a cloud deployment, either by selecting our business plan or our business pro plan, or another cloud option is our private cloud option. With private cloud, our partners can have a dedicated virtual server just for them in our cloud, and they can have full access to all the administration of Kerio Connect for all their customers, including separating the domains between different businesses that they set up. And Kerio Connect is also available to deploy on-premise at the customer's site. And we have a model where our partners can provide a hosting service for their own customers, where a partner deploys Kerio Connect at their location, and then they make it available as a hosted service for their own customers. So whether it's installed in-house, or as a hosting service, it can be installed as a software application on Windows, Mac, or Linux with one installation package, or it can be installed as a virtual appliance for VMware environments. And we also provide tools for data migration, for Outlook support, and integration of directory services as well. So before I go into what's new in the 9.1 release, I'd like to talk about two minor releases that we did before that. So we focused a lot on the battle for fighting spam in the first half of this year. We already had some anti-spam fighting capabilities in Kerio Connect that are very mature, very flexible, can certainly take care of fighting spam. But what we did in the first half of this year, in the 9.02 release, we upgraded our spam filtering engine, and I'll tell you more about the details of that in a moment. In that 9.02 release, we also added the ability for domain-based SSL certificates, and we have a bit more to tell you about for domain-based configuration in the 9.1 release as well. Also, in the first half of this year, we released a minor release, which was the 9.03 release, and that one introduced a new Kerio anti-spam option on top of the engine upgrade that we did in 9.02. So let me show you what that looks like. So for spam filtering in the 9.02 release, we updated our spam engine, which is Spam Assassin. So the newer version has a few important improvements. It has some new techniques to block spammers that are abusing top-level domains. It blocks more spoofed emails than ever before, and it also better blocks spam that comes from spammers that are using alternate character sets to try and hide from spam detection. There are also performance improvements that came from doing the 9.02 upgrade. It's faster, it's more efficient, and it comes by default in every version of Kerio Connect starting from version 9.02. And then following on with that, we introduced a new anti-spam extension in the 9.03 release. This extension, it's a new optional spam filter that can be purchased along with Kerio Connect. And this extension uses Bitdefender, which is also an award-winning spam fighting engine. It can take a lot of time to set up Kerio Connect to fight spam, depending on various factors specific to the customer needs and the customer environment. With the Kerio anti-spam option, this comes with defaults where right out of the box it can detect as much spam as it might take you quite some time to tweak and set up Kerio Connect with the basic engine to block. So The optional extension requires less technical knowledge, and it also comes with some performance improvements as well. It uses Bitdefender's cloud, and it has fast offloaded processing, which takes the load off your Kerio Connect server. So with that, we have a lot of options for anti-spam now, with the choice of the inbuilt spam assassin engine and also the additional Bitdefender extension as well. So the Kerio Connect 9.2 version also introduced SSL certificates per domain. This gives the ability to use different certificates for different domains on the server. It gives a better user experience because customers can recognize their domain as they accept those certificates. It also gives our hosting partners more flexibility on how they set up certificates on their servers. As well as being able to have a different certificate for each domain, it's also possible to have multiple certificates in place for one domain. And then Kerio Connect has some intelligence to decide which certificates that are available it can use and pick the one it needs. So Kerio Connect will look at the certificates, and it will start off by looking for a valid certificate for the domain first, followed by an expired certificate for that domain. It will then look for valid wildcard certificates, and lastly a default server certificate. So per domain certificates will be prioritized if available. But we do recommend that certificates that are used are signed by a certification authority to provide a secure and a good user experience as well. So now on to our latest Kerio Connect 9.1 release. We focused a lot on our Kerio Connect end user experience, and we added a lot of new features, and we made it look even better than it did before as well. You're going to find it brighter, you're going to find it more modern and more pleasing, and just quite frankly, quite a delight to use. We've introduced various enhancements for contacts, mail and calendars that I'll go through in a moment. We've added the ability to see the presence status of people within the Kerio Connect client. And we've added a new feature, the ability to send and receive chats as well as emails, and we've integrated all that very nicely into the existing Kerio Connect client user experience. We also have our first look at our first desktop application, a technology preview of Kerio Connect as a desktop application for Mac operating system. That includes all the features that you get in the Kerio Connect web client, but more as well. So the things that you would expect from a desktop application, like notifications, a dock icon, and all the other things that you would expect from a dedicated desktop application. And we continued the momentum from our 9.02 release, where we introduced domain-based configuration for SSL certificates. And in the 9.1 release, we introduced domain-based configuration for both archiving and setting up quotas per domain as well. So let's have a look in depth at some of those new features that we've added. So some of the ways we've made the Kerio Connect client brighter, we've brightened it up. We've changed our directory photos so that they're round. They used to be square. Now they're round, and they all have a presence bubble attached to them. So with that presence status, you can see if their presence status is green, then they're online right now. If their presence status is a different color, it gives you an indication of that person's availability. And we'll look a little more at presence in a moment. For those people that are a little too shy to add their own photos or just haven't got round to doing it yet, we've made it bright anyway by having photo placeholders, still with the presence status there as well. So we've introduced an algorithm within the Kerio Connect client so that if somebody doesn't have a directory photo, we pick one of our standard color circles and brighten up the directory list anyway with those different colors. So let's go over a few of the enhancements we've made for checking email within the Kerio Connect client. These apply to both the browser Kerio Connect client and the Mac desktop application as well. And we listen to all our partners and customers. Thank you for all the feedback that you've given us. And one of the things that we've done is we've increased the number of messages that you can view per page. So it used to be set to 50, and we've now allowed it to be set to different numbers up to a maximum of 500, and the end user can decide how many they want to display. We've introduced a new font, the Roboto font, and this font makes it a lot clearer to see the text within the email list. So again, something that we got lots of feedback on. So hopefully that will be brighter, it will pop out, it makes the whole client look and feel cleaner and lighter, etc. And then we've added a high contrast email selection. So you can see here on the right hand side, when you select a message, it's now highlighted in the theme color of the client that the end user can change if they want to. So my theme color here was green, and it's very easy to see which message is selected because you've got that big green bar over it. Just to compare with what it was before, that used to be a pale grey colour, so now it's a lot easier to see the message selection. So adding flexibility to the way you can include images in an email message. This is one of those key features to make it a lot more flexible, to make your emails pop out and look brighter, more of a pleasure to receive as well as send. There are now two ways that you can add images to your emails. You can add images directly inline in the message body, and you can do that by clicking on this new image icon. Then you can find the image that you've already got, and it will appear directly inline in the message body like you can see here. Or you can, as was already available, you can still add an image as an attachment. You can add an image as an attachment in two different ways. You can click the attachment icon and add it directly, or you can drag and drop an image and it will be added as an attachment to your message. So another mail feature that we've added is the ability to not show a message preview by default as you switch between folders. So unless you select a message specifically, then the message will not be displayed. So this aids in privacy. So if somebody is working closely with you or somebody is walking past you, you can have the ability not to show the text of the message until you are ready to do that. Now, if you want to always display it, you're somewhere where nobody can look at your machine, then you simply have to click this once when you see it, and it will always display the message preview. So the end user can choose what to do with this. Also, to do with switching between folders, we've now added the ability that the Kerio Connect client remembers the message that was selected before. So when you were switching folders before, it would start from scratch and you'd need to select a message, and that would be the one that it displays. But now if you switch between the folders, if you are displaying those message previews, it will remember the one that you selected last time you were looking at that folder. That really makes things easier if you're switching between folders just to get reference and look at something else temporarily. You don't have to then come back, find the message and reselect it again. One of the big changes we've made to the Kerio Connect client is the addition of presence to be displayed wherever you see one of your contacts. The ability to see presence status of your colleagues, it changes things quite a bit. So traditionally thought of as perhaps more of a consumer type of feature, this is very important, very useful for knowing if somebody is online and be able to receive a phone call from you. Or a more simple example, even if you work in the same office as somebody, is if somebody sits all the way across the other side of the building to you, and you can get up and walk over there and see if they're in the office. But even nicer is if you can check their presence status before you walk over the hallway to talk to them. So presence status gives you a way of deciding the best way to communicate with somebody based on how urgent it is for you to communicate with them, but also their willingness to be able to communicate back with you. So if you see that somebody is online, this lets you know that if you want one, you can get an immediate response to your communication. If you see that the presence status, if someone shows that they're away, then you know that an offline form of communication is better suited for maybe the time of day, and you can send them an email instead. Presence doesn't just tell you somebody's availability, but it also indicates their willingness to be interrupted in an ad hoc measure as well. If they're green and they're available, then they probably don't mind being interrupted, and you can have a quick, real-time, immediate response to your communication. So first, you can see the presence status of other people in your contact list, like I'm showing here. And then also you have some control over your own presence status too. So by default, Kerio Connect will see that you're online or offline and display your presence status appropriately. However, if you decide that you want to spend some time concentrating on something, you can change your own presence status to show that you're either away or put yourself in do not disturb mode, or you can even pretend that you're completely offline to encourage others not to interrupt you at the time. So you can set your own presence status to one of these predefined values, or you can leave it to Kerio Connect, and Kerio Connect will automatically set those presence statuses as it detects what you're doing at any given time. You can see the presence status of everyone in the contact list. You can see it in the chat view, which we'll look at soon, and you can see it within emails as well. We've added instant messaging or chat directly within the Kerio Connect client. So we've really integrated it into the Kerio Connect experience. So when you receive an email, you'll be able to decide, do I want to send an email back? Do I want to send a chat back? When you receive that email, you can look at the presence status of the person, and you can decide if you want a quick response or if you want a more of an offline, it can be answered later today or tomorrow response, in which case you would pick an email instead. A note also here, if you hook up Kerio Operator to interoperate with Kerio Connect, then you have a few choices how to communicate. You can send a chat for an instant ad hoc real-time communication, or you can call the other person directly from Kerio Connect using Kerio Operator. Or if your request is not too urgent, or you know that the other person will be offline for a bit, then you can send them an email. So using emails versus using chats versus calling people, this is really going to help reduce email buildup. Use emails for what's necessary, use chats for what is necessary, and call people to have real-time conversations for what's necessary too. Sometimes you'll find that one phone call can save you about 5 emails back and forth. So if it can be something that's done with a phone call or a chat, better, it can really help you manage your email. And a little more on how chat works within the Kerio Connect client. So we've added a new tab view just for chat. So when you want to concentrate on chats, you can see them all in one place. You can have multiple chats going at one time and flip between them. The chat view contains all your contacts. Note some of these don't have directory photos in the screenshot that I'm showing you here, and the ones that don't, they have those very nice, bright, colourful placeholders instead. So really making the Kerio Connect client quite a joy and a pleasure to use. So if people are sending and receiving chats all day and sending and receiving emails all day, so what about compliance? What if we need a record of all the communications that are going on across communications within the company? Well, then we can use chat archiving, and it's easy to set up chat archiving. And if needed, you can download a chat archive very easily from the Kerio Connect administration. So this example is what you would download if you chose to retrieve an archived chat. You can download it specific for a date period, and then when you download the archive, it will look something like this. I've color-coded it to make it readable, and each color here represents a different chat, and you can see that each one is time-stamped and it has the name of the person that sent it. So very easy searchable text file that you can look through if needed, or use it for compliance reasons. So one thing I want to point out with our introduction of chat within the Kerio Connect client, so we respect that as a business, our customers are going to have their own favorite desktop applications that they use today. And for those that are already using a chat client, then Kerio Connect supports open interoperable standards. So in this case, as we've integrated chat into Kerio Connect clients, we've done it using XMPP, which means that if you're using something like Apple Messages or Adium or any other standards-based instant messaging client, then you can send and receive messages in that client and send and receive them in Kerio Connect as well. So if you have Apple Messages open and the Kerio Connect client as well, and somebody sends you a message, you'll find it appears in both places. So we interrupt with some of your favorite desktop applications. We plan to continue being open and interoperable, and we plan to do more things like this in the future. So chat, it can be used with Jabber Chat, it can be used with other Jabber Chat clients, and it can be archived as well. So the Kerio Connect client, I've just gone over some of the new great features that it has. It's a fully featured communications application. Going for the next step here is turning it from that browser-based application running in one of the tabs within a browser into a desktop application. So this 9.1 release has our Kerio Connect Mac desktop application available as a technology preview. So using this application, our end users can take full advantage of many of the traditional desktop capabilities. For example, a persistent login, an icon that goes on the desktop, integrated desktop features that are already there. So for example, the ability to add smiley faces or any other emoji into the body of an email message or into a chat message, dictating to get the text into the email body, text to speech, and a doc notification as well. When you receive an instant message or a notification, you'll find that a notification slides in from the right-hand side of the screen to alert you that there's something new. So very integrated with the operating system. In the screenshot here, you can see the Kerio Connect Mac desktop application running, and the dock at the bottom has Kerio Connect Client with a notification. So you can see that there's one message that has not been looked at yet. So big red badge alerting you that there's something you've not yet looked at. And some things to note about the Mac desktop application. So it is in technology preview. We will officially release it in our next release, and we'll be looking to release a Windows version as well. One of the nicest things about this desktop application is that it auto updates from the server. When there's a new version, the users don't have to worry about that. A notification comes from the server to the client, and the client will automatically update itself without the end user having to go and find anything or the administrator having to tell the user where to download a new version. It will check for updates and it will update to the latest version if needed. It's important to note it does require the 10.11 El Capitan or higher version of the operating system, but I'm presuming everybody here does make sure that all their customers are using the latest version and updates their machines as necessary for security reasons and to make sure that everything is nicely up to date and well protected. So let's have a look at some of the system requirements. Sorry, moved on a little bit too fast there. Also configuration for each domain. So following on from what I talked to you about for Kerio Connect 9.02, we've also added the ability to set quotas per domain. So in this particular example, For one particular domain, you can set disk space limits. So in the example here, we can see that for this particular domain, we've set a limit of 10 gigabytes. There is an indicator bar here showing quite clearly how much of that quota has been used. And then the administrator can also set some warning configuration as well. So at what point when that quota is getting used up, do we get notifications? So here we've set it to 80%. So when 8 gigabytes of that 10 gigabytes are used, start sending me notifications. And then the warning limits can be modified as well. So you can have warning limits sent every day, every week, every 2 days, for example, to make sure that the right people are alerted and can take the action necessary. And we've also added archiving for domains. So archiving can be done for email, can be done for instant messaging as well, for XMPP. And in this case, what you can do is you can set email to archive to a remote email address that is different for each individual domain. And you can set up some options, archive just local messages, incoming messages, outgoing messages, or everything, and a separate place to archive those email messages different for each domain to really get some organization out of that and keep things separate for different customers. And some of the things that we have want to call out for system requirements for this release. So I think the biggest thing to call out here is that we now no longer support 32-bit installations. So it has to be 64-bit. If you want to upgrade, you can no longer do 32-bit to 32-bit anymore. It is 64-bit only. We've removed support for Windows XP as well. And you can see some of the other things that we have removed support for here. And upcoming end of life, to give you some notification for what we intend to stop supporting later, will be Internet Explorer version 10 will end in the next version. And so now to summarize, so you can see that we've done a lot of work on the end user experience. We've got richer communications with the addition of those real-time options. So real-time options with the introduction of chat, and you can also integrate it with Kerio Operator for making phone calls as well. We've done per domain configuration for archiving and quotas, which follows on to the per domain configuration we did for SSL certificates for domain as well. And we've introduced our preview of the Mac operating system desktop application as well. So if you haven't used it yet, please do. I encourage you to download it, take a look at it. And thank you again for your support. Thanks for attending, and I hope this was useful to you.